Alright, welcome to another Trading the Price. Today is August 22nd, 2017. It's Tuesday evening, somewhere around 10:20 on the West Coast. So it's pretty much early Wednesday morning on the East Coast. 1:20 a.m. on the East Coast. So anyway, I just finished updating the open interest and look at some of the potential pin. So I thought I'd do a little bit of a video just to show some of the pin that I'm looking at right now. Not necessarily that's where it's gonna be, but at least based on the data that I have, just kind of get some idea of where the price might move and converge onto. So that way kind of get some idea of not to get spooked. So let's go and take a look at the index first. I'm going to take a look at the S&P 500. You can see S&P 500 gave a little bit of a rally yesterday. It's kind of gap up, and actually it closed up a little bit over 24 point and came up to this pivot high here. I was basically tweeting that pivot high on the ES on Twitter, and it's 2453.46. So you can see that it closed right a little bit below that, like a point and a penny, 1.01 basically. Or no, sorry, 99 cents. Alright, so 99 cents off of that. Okay, so anyway, basically looking at the 2452.47. So if we take a look at the open interest right now, we got so many things that you could trade, so many ways to trade. Here is the open interest chart that I have for the index itself, the SPX, and it expire Wednesday. Okay, so the next this got up, next in the morning when it opened up, the next session. Okay, so basically tomorrow, and for the East Coast, it's in the morning. Okay, and right now I'm essentially looking at 2450 and the 2455. Basically, it's let me get my marker here. Essentially, these two point here. I didn't draw that too good here. Okay, so okay, let's try that again. Let me draw those 2 points. So essentially it's 2450 or 2455, and you know that we just look at the SPX and it closed at 2452, so it's right in the middle here. That's where it closed. So tomorrow we'll see how price will move and see where it's gonna converge, because there's also a possibility they can move it down here to 2445 if the market decide to heads down instead the continue is a little bit of a rally, because these are low bounces. I don't think it's a reversal from the current pullback yet, so it's just maybe it's just like a little bit of a short-term dead cat rally, that kind of stuff. So so basically I'm looking at the possibility of 2450 and 2455. That's on the SPX. And if we take a look at the spider, okay, let me get the spider on there. And if we take a look at the SPY is right now I'm essentially looking at this. Well, let's before we look at the SPY, let's go and take a look at the the chart on the SPY. Let me go and do that. Let me put up the chart on the SPY, And we see the SPY was actually closed at 245.44. Okay, and we're essentially looking, this gap here got filled. So right now we're essentially looking for this thing possibly pull back and get down to this 239.96 or 240 area. If it come up, we're essentially looking for this thing to come up and take this pivot up at 247 and change. Right. So again, if we are basically looking at the this SPX, the S&P 500, to close somewhere, to get pinned at somewhere around 2450, then we're basically looking at 245, right? So essentially, that's basically somewhere around here is 245. Okay, so this would be the pin on the 245. And if we taking a look at the other one is what's that, 245, 245.50, I believe, right? Let's go back and take a look at the SPX. Right, yeah, 24.55. So that would be 245.50 for the SPY. 245.50 for the SPY will be here. Right, so 245.50, that will be here, and essentially moving the price up for these call here. Okay, so it probably come down to the 245, right? To 245. That would be the most obvious, I would say. Okay, but that doesn't mean that's what it's gonna do. So it's all depend how the market move tomorrow. If it moving down, it could shift down to this 244 here, and might even possibly get down to this 243, right? Because 243 got this this high open interest over here also on the call. Okay, so that's for the Wednesday OpEx. And if we go back and take a look at the oops, I'm sorry about that, I forgot to switch the chart here. Okay, let's go back and look at the SPY. Okay, so I was saying that if the S&P 500 XPX pin at 2450, then we essentially are looking at the 245 pin on the SPY. Okay, and today we close at 245.44, so that means we're expecting the market to head down a little bit. But if the S&P 500 is pinned at 2455, then we're essentially looking at this pin here at 245.50. But depending on where the market is moving, like I said, if the market is moving down a little bit, we might even see, depending on how dramatically the downside is going to be, we might see it actually shift down to 243. That will be a heck of a sell-off, because you can see that we have peak open interest, high open interest on the call and the put. Okay, so that's one possibility. But if it really going to rally, I'm not sure it will actually come up to this 247. Okay, if it move up to 247, this might become a resistance here. Okay, and yeah, this is not gonna be in play. That's 230. Okay, so that's for the Wednesday pin. Let's go back and take a look at the SPX for Friday pin. For Friday pin, we're basically looking 2450 again on this right here. Okay, that's the obvious right now, but we also could see if the market is selling off, we could see it trying to get down to the 24.25. That's probably going to be at the level that we'll look for support here. Okay, and if that doesn't hold, then we're basically looking at the 2400. But if it rally up, then we probably be looking at 2475 as resistance. Okay, so but right now we're looking at the pin at 2450. So it's not much of a change from tomorrow to Friday pin, if that's the case, assuming that it will pin at 2450 tomorrow. Okay, so it all depends how much of these open interest will change as time goes on. All right, so but at least right now we're basically looking at 24.50 on Friday, and for the SPY, we're essentially looking at here's see, that's a little bit of a conflict here. Actually, here, make more sense to look at this as 246 for the pin, right? 246 on the SPY, okay? And if we come down, we're basically looking at 244. So we're basically looking at the downside on 244, and the 240 once again will become a play on support here. Okay, so the 246 could be could be a resistance. Maybe bump up here and then come back down and possibly pin at 245. Right, that will be coincide with the S&P 500 at 2450. All right. Okay, so basically we're looking at these numbers here. Right, between 244 and 246 right now. All right. Okay, so let's go and take a look at Apple here. Let's start off with the chart. Just kind of review what Apple did today. Apple actually went up 2.65 and closed at 159.78. Okay, if it continue to go up, then we're basically looking for the all-time high as potential resistance. But again, we're still looking for this thing to pull back and dip below 154.63 to come down and fill this earning gap here. All right, so if we take a look at Apple, remember close at 159 on Apple, and the downside support is 150.22, and the upside is somewhere around 160.183, so it's 162. All right, so let's go and take a look at the open interest on Apple. On Apple, we're basically looking right now at 155 and 160. Those are the number, and then in between is 157.50 here. Because here's that 157.50. Okay, remember we'll close at 159.78. So we could make a play at 160. All right, could make a play at 160, and if it pushes up that 165. Not 165 to 162.50, that could be the potential resistance here. All right, so essentially we're looking at 160 pin. If it shift down, then we could possibly see that 155 in play. All right, okay, so that's the Apple. So it's basically, we're basically looking for between 155 to 160 with a possibility of 157.5 right now. Okay. And then if we go and take a look at Facebook, let's go take a look at Facebook. Okay, Facebook today closed at 169.64 and was up 2.02. And again, we're basically still looking for Facebook to pull back, and pull back, it go to 166 and then work its way down to 155, 156. Don't believe we're going to get down to that low for this Friday OpEx. But these 167.50, 166 is a possibility, and if we're on the upside, it could be at this 171, okay, to this 173. So let's take a look at the open interest on Facebook and then see what we got. Okay, so Facebook, we're basically looking at the pin at 170. All right, you see the high open interest at 170 with the possibility of 167.5. So we did have a 167.5 right on the gap here. Okay, so 167.5, and then on a little bit of a downside is 165. So again, if we go back and take a look at the chart, all right, we're talking about 167.5 and 165. All right, okay. So 167.5 and 165 at this, right? So it's 166 here. So essentially just come below this gap here, and here's this this level here is the 167.5. Okay, so but if we go up to 170, that's essentially up here, that will be a 170 pin. Okay, so we're basically looking at this area here. All right. So that's Facebook, and if we go and take a look at Netflix, let's go take a look at Netflix here, and Okay, look at Netflix. Netflix also closed up 2.58 yesterday, and it's got closed at 169.34. Okay, down here in the gap, remember we were saying that they're almost filled. I'm still looking for this thing to fill. Right, at 163.55. That's 163.55 here. All right, and but here on this pivot high here, it's essentially 166.87. So the pin is saying there's a possibility you're going to come back into this gap here, try to get this gap filled. And I'm not sure it's going to come up here to this 174. So let's go and take a look at the pin, look at the open interest. Right, the open interest, we see a peak at 170. Right, so 170, that's pretty close to where it closed yesterday or today, that 169.34. Right, and in between we have 167.50. All right, 167.50 is just right above that pivot high that we have at 166.87, and then we have a 165, and that 165 is inside that earning gap, near getting close to the bottom of that that gap there. Okay, so basically you're looking at somewhere between 165 to 170, most likely somewhere in between. It's all depending on what the shift is. If the market is shifting down, moving down, then the chances are we probably see the 165 pin. But if the market is just kind of chop around sideways and maybe just moving up and down, try to consolidate, then we'll probably be looking at this 170 and possibility of 167.5. All right, so that is Netflix, and then the next one we want to look at is Amazon. All right, before we look at Amazon, let's go back and take a look at the chart here. Okay, on Amazon, you can see on Amazon closed at 966.90, and it was up $13.21. Okay, and right now we still be looking at Amazon to come back down and test this 927 area, or make a push back up to 991.74. All right, so it'd be right now 951. We have a pin at 950, so that means it could come back down into this area here. Okay, just underneath this supporting pivot low here. Okay, these pivot low. And also have a pin at 970. All right, so basically just kind of come up somewhere around here. All right, that would be a 970, and then 965 in between. Okay, so if we go and take a look at the open interest, right, we look at open interest, well, this 965 here. Okay, that's probably most likely. And then we have on the upside is 970. Yesterday closed at 966.90. So I mean, it's just going to be chopped around to get to that 970. Okay, and then push it back down. So most likely it'll probably get to 965. Now, if the market sells off again, then we probably see this thing shifting down to 950. Okay, or this could basically pose as a supporting level. Okay, so because here we got the 951 here, right? This 951, these pivot low here. Okay, this supporting line here 951. So essentially, if we're going to pin at 950, it's going to just kind of dip down right beneath this this line here. Okay, and then we're going to take a look at Tesla. All right, Tesla got a little bit of a bounce. All right, and essentially I posted a chart to say look at these this range here, okay, from this candle. All right, if it break above, then probably will move up and try to get back into this area here. If it break below, then we essentially look for this thing to come down and maybe test some of these pivot low and eventually move down to the 303. Okay, so right now we're essentially looking at, well, it closed at 341.35, and it was up $3.64, or 1.08%. Okay, so basically looking for this thing to move up. If it can move up to 343, actually I got a pretty positive move on this thing here, because right now it's close at 341.35. Let me see if I could get Tesla here. Okay, so let's go and take a look at the Tesla open interest chart. First, we see this, we got a 340 pin possibility here. Okay, 340 pin. Alright, and it could work down to 335 and possibly 330 if things are moving or heading down. And if we come up, it could be 345 and 350. 350 will probably be a resistance. Okay, so we see that 340 is essentially is very close to where it closed for today, which is 341.35. Right, but again, remember we saw that there is a pivot high turned out at 327. Okay, 327. So it could possibly move it down to this 330 here. But right now it seems like somewhere in this 340 it might make a little bit more sense right now based on the open interest, and it could shift down to 335 or shift up to 345 here, but right now we're basically looking at 340. Okay, and the last one we're going to take a look at is Goldman Sachs. Okay, so let's go and take a look at Goldman Sachs chart here. Alright, Goldman Sachs chart is not much of a happening here. Okay, so we got a 223 here. Essentially, still trying to get up to this baseline here and try to break this, this pivot level here, this right here. Okay, alright, so basically Goldman Sachs, we're probably looking at the pin of 222.50. 222.50 is right near where it closed yesterday, 223.58. So essentially somewhere around here, right? So that's where the pin is. And if we go take a look at the open interest, and you can see essentially I got a mark down here, this 222.50, and it could shift down to 220 or up to 225. So if we go back and take a look at the chart, and essentially we're basically looking at this area here. Let me put up the marker. So if we say here's the pivot, okay, so that's basically 224, and I have a 225, okay, and I also got this thing here. Down here, this is 219.21, but we're basically looking at 222. Okay, 222, somewhere around here is 222.50. Okay, so essentially we're looking at this 222.65, this area here. So we'll probably see it maybe push around to 225. And if it's gonna run, then probably pushes up a little bit more, maybe possibly to 230. This is up at near this pivot, so that's going to be a heck of a run, and the S&P probably will follow. But if it comes down to 220, there's a chance for 220. Yeah. So let's go back and take a look at this. Right, here's 220 right here. Okay, so. So we could get this 220 right here. Okay, so if things shifting down, we could hit this 220 peak on the put. Okay, so last but not least, I thought I had the last one on Goldman Sachs, but we could take a look at Twitter. Right, you can see Twitter been pending for the last few weeks at 16. Although we're seeing some action on the price itself, but probably not going to do much for this week. And if we take a look at Twitter, I don't even have it on this watch list. Okay, so let's go Twitter, and you can see that made a nice move today. right? Okay, I don't know what's it up. Let me see, could I get something here? Gonna add it on there to see what's up. 52 cents, which is 3.23%. So that's a pretty good gain on percentage wise, right? Okay. And we're basically looking at 16. If the momentum continues to shift up, we probably could see a 17 pen. Okay. And who knows, right? If something is going on that not aware of. I did see somebody putting on a pretty good size on a call spread. I think it was a 1723 call spread. I believe it's December, for December 15 expiration. So they got a long, I think it was 3,000 contract long on the 1723 call, the vertical. Okay, so so that'd be interesting because they basically betting that it will be above 17 and all the way up to possible 23 between now and December 15th. And I believe they pay maybe $1 each for the contract for that spread. So we'll see. I mean, anything is possible, right? So that's basically what I got for the open interest and what I was looking at earlier this evening. So hopefully that will give you a little insight on what to watch on for the coming day, and see how the machine pushes the price around. Okay, have a good evening and see you tomorrow morning.